Hallå! This is probably an expected video for some and unexpected for others, but for me, this is something I've wanted to do for a while. Warpaints, the best and worst thing that has happened to this game, in my opinion. The good reasons are, a new way to obtain a weapon in strange quality without your wallet screaming. A way to personalize your loadouts to your liking, candy to your eyes when inspecting it in-game, and heck, even just by looking at it in your backpack. And more variety than just wielding regular stock weapons. Makes you feel a bit special, you know? The bad reasons are, they are hard to sell for a reasonable price. Don't buy Warpaints in hopes to turn a profit, that's just not gonna happen. Unless it's a regular old Warpaint, then maybe. They fit onto too many weapons, like the Winger. Seriously? Like Valve had so many other options to put it on, like the Heatmaker or the Classic, but they chose the Winger, like pfft. And the fact that Valve just cucks us and lets these ugly eyesores into the game that are just Zoomer and trader bait instead of these Warpaints that people actually want. Top 10 Warpaints. I'm actually surprised that no other content creator have done any of these. I mean, TF2 is in fact the first person shooter hat simulator game, not a weapon skin game like CSGO and other first person shooter out there. I can recall Spiky Mikey doing a list of Cheap Warpaints a year ago, and to be fair, he actually listed some good ones, like Smalltown, Bringdown, and Civic Duty, you know, the Mark II ones, not the skin ones. We'll come to those later, I promise you. Except for the backwards boomstick, that one is ugly, I am sorry. But yet again, he listed Warpaints that were cheap and looked good. However, not in strange quality. And other Warpainted related videos are either tier list and reviews by our buddy Sesty or workshop reviews by various other creators. Anyhow, I really hope I don't tag the price of some of these Warpaints that I mentioned here. Because sometime last year this actually happened and it was hell. Not for me, however, but for the people who cashed in on the trend and eventually lost money. Looking at you, trader mains. Buying up all of the gentleman skins. Fuck you. Also, before we begin, I want to mention that most of these Warpaints that I'm gonna list in Strange Factory New are gonna be super expensive. So you probably want to aim for a Strange field tested or minimal wear. Or if you have the money to burn, go for a Factory New one. But I will assume that you don't want to. Oh, and also, if you're expecting Warpaints to look like this day and age, chief, I've already stated why I hate these kinds of Warpaints a ton of times in my videos. Anyhow, and before we jump into the lists, let's have a word from our sponsor. I'm joking, there's no sponsor, except for me. Here's a timestamp if you want to skip to the tier lists. Like, people are gonna skip right now, but if you're somehow still listening to me, I have a Patreon now. So hop on there and do whatever, I don't know. The thing I offer on my Patreon is access to my Discord. I've mentioned this in the community post a while back. And let you in some bonus content as well as scrapped clips or videos. Wow. And do a little side scroll of your name in the end credits and put you in the description. Check it out now in the video. There's already a couple peeps down there. I really don't want to encourage anyone to give me money. If you aren't financially comfortable to support me, that is completely fine. You gotta help yourself first before you help others. Unlike my country, that's going down the shitter with the taxes and electricity bills. Thank you to our Prime Minister. I love my country. Watching this video is more than enough for me, honestly. And I myself hate to ask people for money, but I'm letting you all know that if you want to support me, I have a Patreon. It helps me when it comes to these huge compilation videos. They take a fair bit of time to complete, and having people supporting me, again, helps me and gives me more discipline to finish those videos. Anyways, thanks a lot, and let's get back into the video. God, I hate doing these.
These are the top 3 things I wish I would have done differently when starting my pressure washing business. First is get more hose. Hauling a pressure washer.
First Warpaint on the list is probably the most basic and simplest Warpaint in the game. Civic Duty Mark II. Now, if you probably wonder why this one is called Mark II, well, that's because this Warpaint is a rendition of a weapon skin that got released before this. All Mark II Warpaints have this, by the way. Now, for this instance, it's the Civic Duty shotgun that this Warpaint is based on. Civic Duty hits the 10th spot on this list due to its simplicity. If you just want a cheap, strange weapon, no matter what the warpaint is, this is the skin to go for. There isn't much to say other than this warpaint has no random or rare stickers or patterns or seeds. This warpaint defines simplicity. And honestly, I see many people use it, mainly due to that reason alone, I think. Which is understandable. Solid weapon skin, in my opinion. And a solid warpaint rendition as well.
Shadow, relax.
Cream corned. I myself am not a big fan of this warpaint personally. However, I would lie if I said it doesn't look good. Most of these Halloween candy warpaints looks hideous in my opinion. But the creators of Cream Corn did an outstanding job to strike a balance between a gun skin and a resemblance of candy. I myself own one, a Person Persuader. The Australian Person Persuader, the only one in existence. I stole this name from a buddy in my Discord. I would advise trying to get one in Strange Factory New, with a good orange fade pattern. It will cost you, but it will be well worth it. Since this warpaint is clean off, and with specialized killstreak sheen, I would either choose Deadly Daffodil or Mandarin. The wavy lines is something you would find during the day and age that TF2 takes place in, which is in the 60s and 70s. And the colors, mainly creamy white, yellow and orange, goes really well with TF2's color palette. Not my favorite warpaint, but it's a solid pick for most.
Brixton bully, slide with a body, man hold two from the woody. Shiru gangster, know me, man leave.
Next warpaint on the list is Nutcracker MK.II. I really don't have much to say about this other than it's a pretty solid pick. It fits well, looks good on most weapons, and comes in a reasonable price to make a cheap strange. I would highly recommend buying a factory new version if you're gonna put it on a large weapon like a rocket launcher or a minigun. And again, aesthetic looks good on most weapon models, and well, that's because it does. But on other weapons it looks On the grenade launcher specifically, the secondary acorn texture kinda becomes hard to look at, but with all that said, Nutcracker is still a solid choice for me. Now Nutcracker MK.II is based off, again, from a weapon skin, or a collection of skins rather. The Harvest collection contains the Nutcracker weapon skins, which this warpaint takes and creates a warpaint out of it.
And hit, drive, Henderson, what the hell are you doing?
Sunriser is a dope warpaint. That's about it. Okay, no, but the Sunriser is one of the newest warpaints that got added to this recent Scream Fortress. Red version looks cool and fitting, and blue looks off, but no way ugly. It definitely fits in the game, and you could definitely theme your loadouts around this warpaint. I would honestly not recommend buying one in Strange Factory New, but I would go for a minimal wear or field tested, if the wallet calls for it. Also, Sunriser is probably one of the 4 skins that actually looks good out of this case, so yeah, that's gonna bump the price a lot. So that's why it's expensive, it looks good, and it's hard to get since this piece of shit is in the case. Or these, I'd rather say. Smalltown Bringdown MK.II is an amazing warpaint. Based off the Smalltown Bringdown rocket launcher, that's just a weapon skin, and was a part of the 2-4 collection back in summer of 2015, I am happy to see that it got revamped into a warpaint, because it really does look good. Simple yet good looking. It's subtle, and by far the blue version is my favorite team color of this warpaint. I would strongly advise you get a factory new version of this warpaint because it looks really damn good and just screams TF2, I love it. There are some textures on there, yet you can't really see it from far away. It just looks like a regular, team colored warpaint, sort of. And I just love it to death. I don't personally own one, but it looks really good. But I have some other favorites. There isn't much to say other than, it's based off a weapon skin and looks good. Yeah, that's it. That's a fuck.
Do the dab on the furry haters? Sure.
Tiger Buffed is better than Leopard printed. Okay, no, but these 2 warpaints are on an equal level for me. However, I personally enjoy Tiger Buffed more than Leopard printed, mainly due to the tiger stripes. Tiger. Now, what makes these warpaints so good? Well, simply because the wood and the fur comes in all kinds of colors. For the wood, there's dark grey, brown, and sometimes yellowish orange, and all in between. The fur comes in mostly plain yellow, brown, goldish orange, and white. However, the rarest gradient is the black one. This war paint could have used a different base because on some weapon models it looks off, like on the minigun and the scattergun. But on the medigun, grenade launcher, and especially the rocket launcher, it looks amazing. It also utilizes albedo tint, so in dark areas of the map your gun sort of shines. So that's pretty cool. Anyways, I get this war paint in minimal wear. I don't know, strange factor new, it's pretty expensive, but look for minimal wear ones. People sell it for a good price, mainly like 2 keys sort of. And try to find a gradient of your liking. White is pretty cool, but black one is the rarest. Black is cool.
Good morning, Tippity Talk.
Number 4 on this list is Plaid Potshotter Mark.II. Now, do not get confused with the original weapon skin that this war paint is based off. The Plaid Potshotter SMG from the Craftsman's collection. It's super expensive, you will see. The Plaid Potshotter Mark.II is an amazing warpaint. Simple, clean, and team colored. The only catch is that it's a freelance grade, which means you gotta trade up to it. Either 10 civic duties or 10 civil servant warpaints, or weapons that are applied on in strange quality to get a 50% chance of hitting that Potshotter in strange quality, depending on what wear you used. I would recommend getting it in factory new quality, since it's not that expensive, but if you want a minimal wear one, don't be afraid to pick it up. For some reason, at the time of scripting this, someone has bloated the price of this one, so you might want to wait for the price to drop. In any case, this is also a solid pick for a warpaint. You can make a variety of loadouts with this one, and theme it around it. For example, a lumberyard heavy, or pyro, or something outdoorsy in general. I really like this one.
Y'all see the shoes? Y'all see the money? Legit boss ass all this game shit. I'm on top, long grill, cause I'm on low.
Number 3 on this list is Ironwood Mark.II. Ironwood is such a fucking good warpaint. First off, this time the skin is the Ironwood minigun. And to be honest, this rendition is better than the original, surprisingly. If you take a look at the original Ironwood minigun and compare it to the Mark.II, you can see on the Mark.II it has a sleek yet plain texture on both the barrel and the handles, and a yellow stripe around the tip of the barrel, and on the drum. Meanwhile, on the OG skin, it's pretty plain, which isn't bad, just that people favor the warpaint more. The warpaint looks really good on its own. The yellow might be a bit in your face, but to be honest, this is a solid pick. You know, solid because iron. Iron is solid, and so is wood. Anyways, again, I would advise getting one in minimal wear, or field tested. This warpaint looks good in anywhere, really.
What's this? Huh? What's this? What the fuck?
Kiln and Conquer is another seriously underrated warpaint that I honestly don't see used by many. Well, to describe it, looks really damn cool. The tip on most weapons have this tempered metal, which looks really fucking cool on many weapon models. The main texture of this weapon are these metallic tiles where the cracks between them shows a bit of yellowish glow, similar to the uranium warpaint that we got back in 2017. And it works so well with the theme. Kinda reminds me of Foundry. Anyways, buy this, it's really cool. What wear, you may ask? Well, in minimal wear, honestly. Factory new, it's also really expensive, but minimal wear or field tested still looks cool. Or try one in battle scarred. I think people would actually, you know, like it. Maybe, I don't know. Now, before we get to the number 1 on this list, let's have some honorable mentions. Bomber Soul, a simple, elegant war-themed warpaint that is very reminiscent of the Warbird collection. Park Pigmented is an amazing warpaint that actually deserves the elite tier due to how flashy it is, and how the textures are laid out on every weapon model. Swashbuckled is a solid warpaint that is the closest we have to a steampunk-themed warpaint. It is expensive, but I cannot blame people for foaming at the mouth over this one. It's very good, especially with how the textures look. Organically hell-raised, it's just cool. Fiery equals cool. Blue version is green for some reason, but it's good. The textures are great. Anodized Aloha is great due to how well the gradient and textures blend together. You can get some pretty sick orange gradient with it. Hazard Warning is another cool looking warpaint. The galvanized steel fits really well with the hazard stripes, making you think of a construction site. I myself own a Hazard Warning warpaint, one in strange minimal wear, but what's cool about it is that the stripes are perfectly vertical. Look, B-guns. Starcrossed is honestly the best sticker warpaint out there. It makes up for the stickers with great texture work and colors. It looks fantastic on many weapon models, but it's sadly a tad bit expensive in Strange Factory New. Alien Tech is a really cool warpaint that is sadly from the Winter 2017 warpaint case, so it's hella expensive now, but honestly you cannot be judged for using this. It's really beautiful. And the best warpaint in the game, in my opinion, is Damascus Mahogany. Honestly, I think many didn't see this as a surprise. Damascus Mahogany, in my opinion, is one of the best warpaints we have in the game. Mainly due to its simplicity yet creative concept. This warpaint doesn't use actual Damascus pattern. Instead, it uses fingerprints, which I think is a very cool way of portraying a Damascus pattern into this game. And honestly, this warpaint is the closest we've been to an actual engraving warpaint, which we should have in the game at this point. I mean, of course, the new Sacred Slayer warpaint has engravings, but due to its price and rarity, it's very uncommon to see an average player get a hold of this one, let alone a strange one. That's why Damascus Mahogany is the best. A strange mercenary grade isn't hard to come by. But sadly, this warpaint comes from an old warpaint case way back in winter 2017. The warpaint case is 6 to 7 euros at the time of writing the script, and strange Damascus Mahogany is really expensive at minimal wear, and pretty much impossible to obtain in factory new, so that's why I would advise people to buy it at field tested or lower. But to be honest, at higher wears, this warpaint still looks good due to its color scheme. It fits perfectly onto the weapon models. And you know me, I love Damascus Mahogany. People say that it's overrated, and I can see why people say that. But the fact that we have so much less of this and more of this kinda makes me sad, because the warpaints that everybody wants tanks in price because we get more of this ugly fucking shit in the game. Anyways, that was the tier list. A shitty one, but a tier list. I hope you got inspired for some of these warpaints. I hope you found some new ones. And yeah, I kind of forgot to like write a script for the outro at this point. But yeah, that was the tier list, and I hope you enjoyed this video. So yeah, bye bye.